Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the Amazing Tea Street. Gonna jump right in because I've got a lot of points I want to get through this morning. Today's message: don't skip the process of swimming in deep waters. Oftentimes, because we're afraid of being hurt, we don't allow people in. And we also don't foray into other people's lives in deep, in meaningful ways. So we go through life sometimes with very superficial relationships that don't produce substantive outcomes. Superficial relationships don't produce substantive outcomes. I don't expose myself to everybody. I don't give everybody access to the deep waters within me. And I also don't go swimming in other people's deep waters very often. But when I do, it has netted me amazing emotional outcomes from friendships that have stood the test of time and circumstances. So today I just want to walk through, how do you build deep, meaningful relationships? Not with everybody, but for the people that you want those relationships with. First, it requires you to be vulnerable. And it also requires them to be vulnerable. If you enter relationships where you're the one who's always dumping and sharing, and the other person isn't willing to be vulnerable, it's toxic. You give of you. They will always want to know your deep self, but they don't ever share their deep selves with you. Guess what? It's a sign. Have been in those relationships, won't do those ever again. If I'm giving deep and you giving surface, this relationship isn't a relationship. Okay? So I end those very quickly. So that's the first part. Becoming vulnerable and allowing other people to be vulnerable with you. That's the first step. Learn how to be an active listener. Be a listener who literally isn't waiting to speak, but is listening to understand. Because as you get to know people and you hear their hearts, you figure out what makes them tick. You just simply by listening. I do an activity with young people where we put a mask on them and we seal their mouths, and they build a mask and they just listen to someone talking about themselves for 15 minutes. And then when they're done, they decorate the mask of the other person because they were listening to hear and to understand and not waiting to speak. Practice empathy. What that means is looking at someone else's point of view and then treating that point of view and that person with compassion and support. When you can do that, when you can be vulnerable with other people, when you can be an active listener, when you practice empathy, people are much more likely to allow you in. But guess what? You also have to allow them in. Because if not, it's not a relationship. It's a monologue. Have meaningful conversations. The people with whom I'm closest, they know me deep and I know them deep because we go deep in conversations. We know the things that our minds are saying. We say things to each other that we never put on social media. I got a friend, we send each other all the memes that we can never post publicly because it's not beneficial to us to share all of our thoughts with the world. And literally, we send each other all of the memes because we know that the other one can receive it because we've been engaged in meaningful conversations, and so we know each other on that level well. Create shared experiences. One of my good friends, she actually started out as my son's 8th grade teacher, and we have become like besties. And one of the things that we did is when we went on a cruise for her birthday, she invited her friends, and so we developed some relationships on that cruise that bond us for a lifetime. You know, when you're up in the air and you parasailing with somebody, those are experiences we laugh about, we talk about looking down and seeing the sharks. So creating experiences that build memories, because part of that memory stuff is the thing that you're going to need as time goes on. One of my best friends, we met in grad school, and she's my BFF, and we don't see each other often because she lives in Mexico. But when we get together, we have never missed a beat because we have all these shared experiences, protesting together, driving overnight to Chicago, falling asleep outside of Lake Michigan in the sun and waking up sunburned and then going to the Gospel Fest. That's a memory that we still laugh about to this day, and it happened in 1992. That's how long ago it was, and we still laugh about that memory because we have shared experiences. You've got to build trust. The way that you build trust is that you show yourself to be reliable, You show yourself to be consistent, and you respect other people's boundaries, and you expect them to respect yours. If people don't respect my boundaries, we don't have a relationship. My boundaries exist to protect me. And when you love me, you want to be a part of protecting me. And so I know that I can go deep with you when I set up a boundary and you don't trample it down because it doesn't meet your needs. Because boundaries aren't designed to meet your needs, they're designed to meet mine. But it also says that when I respect your boundaries, that I love you enough to build trust with you by being reliable, being consistent, and respecting boundaries. If I can't count on you all the time, I only count on you in certain seasons, we don't have deep relationships. We have surface. And I'm okay keeping you at the surface. And finally, spend quality time. Just like I spend quality time with God because I want to be in relationship with God. If you want to be in relationships that are deep, you've got to make time. You don't find time. We all have the same 24 hours. And when people say to me, "See, I appreciate you giving me your time because I know your time is valuable," can I say to you, it offends me because your time is valuable too. Your 24 hours are important and my 24 hours are important. And if I value the relationship, I will make the time to be intentional in spending it with you. So if you want to have deep relationships and swim in deep waters so that you can produce really strong relationships, be vulnerable, be an active listener, practice empathy, have meaningful conversations, have shared experiences, build trust, and spend quality time. I'm the Amazing T Street. And can I tell you, with the right people, I love swimming in deep waters because my friends protect me from the sharks. How about you? Take some time today to really think about how you're going to be intentional in swimming in the deep waters of relationships. I'm the Amazing T Street, but you know what? There's nothing amazing in me. It's not in each and every one of you. I dare you to risk swimming in the deep waters and allowing people to know you and allowing you to know them on a deep and meaningful level, because superficial relationships don't produce substantive outcomes. Have an amazing day.